Recorded live in Balcatta, Western Australia, the Hoon capital of the world. This is Talkin' Power.
Gap is what happens when you hold to the floor and crush the man next to you. There's space in between your back lumbar and your front band. We in the South we refer to it as the gap band.
Well, I think Formula One is for grown-ups.
Shut the grade on this one, Rex. Here's the guts.
When we start following the move, Tom is Reynolds and players back into the top of
Yes, listen, 51 words.
So, what about the sideways? You've got a race in your own lane. Now he's on the grass, he brings it back. That's a great driving there.
Torque and Power, your motoring and motorsport podcast.
Talkin' Power Podcast, episode 49. I'm with Simon Gonzo Travellini. I'm Nick DiCembro. We are back for 2019. Welcome back, Simon.
Happy New Year, Nick.
Same to you. Same to you. I was going to start off the show and give us a rundown on what's been happening in your life.
What's been happening?
Work. Work. I know you've been busy. We've all been pretty busy, haven't we?
You want to update on the BA and the Camry?
I think so. Yeah. Instead, we always end with that. No, I think a lot of people want to probably start with that.
Okay.
So yeah, we should kick off with that.
All right.
Actually,
Well, the BA, I've sort of got. How can I put this? There's been some progress. We've got the radials.
Yep.
They're on the car.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it looks like one of the tyres has got a bubble in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into an argument with anyone. I'm just going to buy 2 new tyres.
Oh, okay.
And we'll keep them as spares if something happens at the track or whatever. They're easy enough to change with the beadlocks.
Yep.
I've had to extend the shock brackets because going from the 34.5 to the radial, which is a 30-inch tyre, obviously the diff's got to come down.
Yep.
2.25 inches roughly. So that's done. I've mocked up the tyres on the back. The engine is nearly back together, the long motor. The supercharger is a little bit left to service that, and that'll be back together. So it's kind of, I've got a lot of things going on. Jamie from Shift Kits Australia has been working flat out on a couple of little trick bits of electronics.
Yep.
To help us manage the power.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching a lot of videos, reading a lot. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Nick. I'm shitting my pants because it's been 5 years since I've driven anything fast. I know very little. I mean, I've never run. We ran radials back in the Datsun days, but we're talking about, 650 horsepower versus 3,000 horsepower. So and it was IRS. The reason we ran radials on the Datsun, as you would remember, was because it was IRS and it didn't really handle very well with the conventionals on it.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, I think that we should be able to make it for the 16th. Fingers crossed.
That's February 16th.
of February. Yep. And obviously we'll have another podcast or two between now and then to confirm that. As to how we're going to go, it really is a big unknown because we're not like I haven't been able to speak to anyone about how do you run these things. So everything is theoretical, and there are so many things that I've changed. I was talking to Brenton about this the other day, and I ran through some of the things that I'm doing, and we had a bit of a laugh. Basically starting with a new car, it's got to work. There's no baseline. It's got to work. Yeah, it'll go fast straight away.
Look, I don't know if some people saw the post that I put up of the photo. It's like it wasn't as simple as just basically. Sorry, my blog. I wrote about it in the blog. It wasn't really just. A lot of people think. A lot of my mates thought I'm just changing the tyres. How hard is that?
No, generally the way you do it is you start with the tyres and the diff, and you have an alignment bar that bolts onto the diff. It actually bolts on where the pinion goes. and goes all the way to the front of the car and sets the centre line for the crankshaft, right? So when you purpose build a car like that, everything's in line.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're purpose building a car for a 30-inch tyre, which is what a 315/60 is, the back of the engine would be a lot lower. Now, my car was actually built for a 36-inch tyre, right? Because I had envisaged that that's where, Door Slammer would end up, and where Door Slammer is now. I'm pretty safe in saying that all the fast guys are running a 36 now.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, my crankshaft centre line, or the centre line coming out of the gearbox, from a 36 to a 30, I've got to drop that 3 inches. And when you're talking about a tail shaft that's, a little over a metre long, that's a dramatic universal joint angle change.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I honestly don't know how we're going to go. Every time I walk past the car, I keep thinking to myself, what did I get myself into? But, I want to thank all the people that have chipped in, like aside from my crew, in particular Travis, who spends as much time as he can there.
Yeah.
But Rory from Speed Talk, we've had to do some last minute things because obviously, like I said, the car hasn't run for 5 years.
Yep.
And as you pull it apart, you go, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. We need to fix that. We need to fix this. So Rory's been really great in pretty much dropping everything to get our stuff done so that we've got a crack. Jamie, once again, from Shift Kits Australia, he has been so patient listening to my crazy ideas. And, that's the thing. There's plenty of guys that can, do auto electrical stuff or do electronic stuff out there. But I don't think there's many guys at Jamie's caliber, right? Like, his main thing now is he's doing the wiring. Like, he still does all the shift kits and modules and so on and so forth, but he's wiring cars up and that's a serious business to him. But this is a guy that can not only design an electronic circuit, but he can write the binary software to make that circuit do what you want it to do. It's unbelievable. He can not only wire the ECU, but he can build it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And program it. He's been doing a bit of dyno tuning, and the guy's a gun.
Yeah.
So I'm just so thankful that he has managed to find a time, and he's very busy all the time, to listen to my crazy ideas and go, yeah, I can do that. And the thing is, nowadays with modern electronics, it's not as simple as it used to be because everything's CAN based. So there is a lot involved in that CAN stuff to make it work. So once again, every system on this car is unique to the car. So if it works, it's going to be a credit to people like Jamie that have taken a concept that I've dreamt up and turned it into reality. And I mean, it's a big gamble because I could have just done what everyone else does. There's a box you buy, which a lot of the I think all the radial racers run. It's called the Profiler. It's made by Davies Technologies.
Oh yeah.
Right, and I've spoken to Shannon Davies a couple of times. Guy is incredibly smart, brilliant guy, brilliant piece of equipment. It stops the car from wheel standing, it stops the car from breaking traction, and it's a self-learning system that basically it looks at what the car's doing, and then it'll make a call and go, you know what, we can put more power in.
Yeah.
And it does it like thousands of times a second. It's incredible, right? But I thought about it, and I thought, you know what, we're only going to have a couple of cracks at this. So for me to invest that kind of money to do it, it's, it just wasn't economically viable. So what we've done is we've used stuff that's existing and then just tried to change the functionality of it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll just turn it all off and I'll drive it with my right foot. So that's the BA.
Yep.
So I'm hopeful that we'll get a crew night in this week, and we'll see a big jump in progress.
Yep.
Because I don't know how much you've been posting up, but right now we're back to a bare chassis again.
Yep.
So we've gone full circle. We've got the car teched, stripped it down, and now we've got to go through that assembly stage.
Yeah.
Once the thing's back together, it's still got to be squared, scaled. I've got to make a call on how much preload, where I'm going to preload it. And yeah, the forelink is in a completely different spot, not just because of the ride height change, but also because of the radial tune-up.
Yeah.
So it's all a big gamble. I've got to write a new program for the shocks. There's there's a hell of a lot still left to do, but I'm hopeful that we'll make it. And whether I'm up to driving it, because like I said, it's been 5 years since I've driven anything with any sort of power. That remains to be seen.
Yeah, yeah.
So now with the Camry, we've started piecing the motor together. I didn't. The mains are supposedly, according to Toyota, are not a torque to yield bolt, but they felt really, really rubbery.
Yeah, when you're tightening them up.
Yeah, so I've made a call. We've ordered a set of main bolts, and we've also ordered a set of genuine Toyota MLS head gaskets. It's all ex-Japan, so we're waiting for those. We've got the lifters, so I can start doing the final assembly on the cylinder heads, and working out what size shims I need for each cylinder. But my life right now, Nick, is very complicated because young Nicholas is coming up to 1 year old. We've got a second child on the way. I'm trying to get work out and keep the business moving forward, and we've got a lot of orders for transmissions, and it's a bit of a juggling act between family, business, and essentially the BA, the Camry. They're really, they're important to Torque and Power, but they're really hobbies at the end of the day.
They're not important at all, really.
Well,
let's be brutally honest and call it as it is. They're not.
The reality is that since we built that Camry, all these people have come out of the closet.
Yeah, we were trying to get an interview with the WTF Auto guys, but they haven't got back to me. So I'll endeavour. I'll keep working on those.
It's not just them. I can't believe how many people are building Camrys, and the price. When we were, buying them, they were like, $700, $900. Now they're $2,000.
I know, they've gone up. They've certainly gone up.
You would have been a wise person to have invested in Camrys when we started this project. So
it is amazing, actually.
We'll see how we go. At the end of the day, this is episode 49.
Yeah, 49, yep.
All right. So probably by about episode 100... we'll have some of these projects nailed.
So watch this space, and if you are following us on the internet or on Facebook and social media, on our website as well, we'll have a video coming up shortly on the BA. I'm trying to get I want to get the video out when we finally assemble the car, so people can see the car was assembled. We pulled it down, we put it back together again, had the car teched, took it to tech, came back, pulled it down again, and reassembling it, so they get a real understanding of what's involved and what's different on this car.
It would be good also if we're at the fire up stage when because then I'm going to feel a little bit more comfortable that because there is a list as long as my arm of things that I wanted to change when we were running it. And the other thing is, although I'm probably going to get a few of the old crew, if not the whole old crew, back, we still need to learn how to work on the car, learn how to do the rockers, learn how to drop the sump, check the bearings, etc., etc. And these are all things that we're going to need to practice.
Training.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is the thing, when you're at this level, every time you touch that motor, there is a risk that you're not going to put it back together properly. So I'd like everyone that's not into drag racing that listens to this show to have a bit of a consideration for top fuel teams that strip the engine completely down, replace a large portion of componentry and put it back together for every single lap.
Yeah.
Now, over the years, and hanging out at plenty of workshops, or garages in Balcatta, on more than one occasion, I saw people put engines back together, and they never ran again.
Yeah.
So,
it's not just the engine; it's the ancillary bits that hang off the engine as well.
course.
Fuel line, oil lines,
supercharger,
air lines. All those things are of high importance.
clutch.
Yeah, and I took the burst panels off, and to be frank with you, I haven't told you yet, but I think I put them on the wrong way around. I think that in between the two burst panels, there's that air. I think I've got that facing left as opposed to it should have been right.
No, that's no good. It won't work properly then.
No, that's but it came to me the other night. I said I was looking at some video. I said I bet you I've put that on the wrong way around. But there's little things like that. In all seriousness, that need to be right. And
every single component.
Yeah.
You're talking about. You can count how many times that crankshaft turns from the start line to the finish line.
Yep.
Every single component on that car needs to be right for it to perform its function. So, look, door slam is cool, top alcohol is cool, but when you look at Top Fuel, or even some of the teams in the Outlaw Nitro funny car series that actually do pull everything apart every lap, it is absolutely amazing. And I don't think that anyone can really fathom it, how complex these machines are, how many components there are that get removed and then refitted. And I would challenge anyone, when you get a chance, pull your lawnmower apart, put it back together, and let's see if it starts.
Yeah, no, that's right. But it is amazing. I've been, I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but I've been amazed by the amount. I wasn't really involved when you built that car the first time around. I kind of was there, but I wasn't involved to the level that I've seen what actually goes in that car, and to just this pulling down and putting it back, in theory, back, pretty much the same, has been mind-blowing, actually. So you'll see that in the video, actually. There's a fair bit that you'll see us doing in the video, so no, I'm looking forward to getting that out. So anyway, that's the plan as well. We'll just touch on that briefly here. So I'll be at Race Wars. We'll be podcasting from Race Wars. So I'll be doing a number of interviews there. I haven't worked out with who yet, but that's still in the planning process. But committed to Race Wars, so I'll be down there. Looking forward to it. I cannot wait.
Hopefully with a winner.
I hope so too. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, even if we do bring the Camry, it'll be just for looksies. But if not, it doesn't matter. We can.
That's annoying you, isn't it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, moving right along. Normally I would have started the podcast with this. I think we're coming up to Australia Day. It's Australia Day on Saturday, and we should be celebrating this guy. If he doesn't win Australian of the Year, he won't, but because he's not mainstream. But this gentleman we're about to talk about, Toby Price.
What a legend.
This is amazing. This is truly amazing. Paris to Dakar. He's won the second time, not in a row. He won it in 2016, and he's won the 2019 edition with a broken wrist.
Yep.
Now, I got to be honest with you. I was a bit disappointed with the mainstream media coverage of this, or the lack thereof.
Oh, they went to the airport.
Yeah, I felt that they could have covered the story a little bit better when he actually won it as well.
He's done something that's truly amazing, but I think he's a hard sell.
Yeah. He's probably not the most aesthetically pleasing sort of gentleman.
But, the thing is, Nick, to me, he represents Australia.
He does,
That's how I like to think of us, like him.
Yep.
But unfortunately, the lefties don't want to sell us as Priscilla, I guess.
No, Nick Kyrgios. Bernard Tomic. No, but it is a sign of the times, and I was really disappointed with the mainstream media coverage of it, because what this guy has achieved is absolutely amazing. We're talking about the world's best endurance riders here. They're not riding for one day. They're riding for 10 days, on the motorbike across a desert.
And this is arguably, or not arguably, without a doubt, the most covered endurance race in the world, most famous, with the longest history. I mean, yeah, it's just an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
And you're right, but this is the country that we live in, and in all of the country, we're probably, because we live in the Stokes state, where he controls all the media over here.
Yep.
You're never going to get any distance. If he was sponsored by Caterpillar, holy smoke!
It would
be plastered at the front page of the paper everywhere. Be front page, business section, sporting section.
Look, congratulations to Toby Price.
There'd be an opinion column on it.
And the Red Bull KTM team. I think that is, listen to this, 18 years in a row. 18 years in a row for KTM. That is amazing achievement.
You can't argue with that.
No. And Husqvarna are up there as well. They came in 4th and 5th as well. So it's great to see those brands from that side of Europe doing really well. Formula One, look, there's been no racing, obviously, but I just wanted to touch off briefly on the new aero package for this year. There's some significant changes being made. There's a lot of speculation about whether it will be successful or not. The front wings have made themselves not as prone to the dirty air from the rear of the car in front. The idea of that is they want the car behind following closer to the car in front. They've made some significant changes with the front wing, so there's a lot of that stuff that used to hang off the front wing, that's all gone. All that crap has gone, basically.
I understand they're trying to, carefully direct the air, but didn't it just look a bit ridiculous there?
Well, it got to the point where even if you just touched someone or went over a bump, shit was falling. Sorry, but stuff was falling off everywhere. So they've got rid of a whole lot of that stuff, and I'm looking forward to this new aero package next year. The DRS is opening up a little bit further, so I think it's some significant changes for this year in aero.
If it was up to me, okay, I'd go back to the 1960s.
Yeah.
Downdraft Webbers, H-pattern shift, none of these wings. The racing was much more fun to watch back then.
It certainly was, but those days are behind us. Speaking of behind us, Maurizio Rivabene, he rocked up all right, but he's departed, unfortunately, from Ferrari, parted ways. He's actually taken on a role at Juventus. He's gone, I think he was involved at the board of Juventus. I could be incorrect.
I've got to stop you there and just explain what Nick's little joke was there.
That's for the wogs.
His name means to arrive well.
Yeah, that's correct. So he arrived well and has left not so well. But look, he's gone and taken on, I believe, this a senior role at Juventus. So look, sad to see Maurizio Arrivabene depart the sport. But look, I'm looking forward to the new team principal has been with the team for a significant amount of time, Matteo Bonito. He's taken on the team principal role. I think, in my frank assessment of Maurizio, he may not have made the call at the Japan Grand Prix on the wall where they put full wets on Sebastian's car and Kimi's car for Q3 when the track was still dry. But he was part of that decision. He was on the wall, and I think from that point onwards, his days were numbered. So, anyway,
that's but did he go against the statisticians?
Yeah, well, it just was a silly mistake because even all the other teams had dries on, and even if the track was still dry, you'll still go faster in a dry track than you will with a wet on a wet track.
I know,
so there's nothing to gain.
They pay statisticians to work this out.
Yeah.
So did he, override the call? Or?
No, I don't believe so. But he's on the wall, and as a team principal, he probably should have, pointed out that decision wasn't the correct one. Anyway, all that aside, and the arrival, we got news this week. Mick Schumacher, Michael Schumacher's son, has been signed in the Ferrari Academy, so I'm really looking forward to that. Number of drivers have been signed up this year. Callum Elliott, Giuliano Alessi, Marcus Armstrong, and Robert Schwartzman, Enzio Fittipaldi, and Gianluca Petakov. So it's great to see a whole raft of new drivers signed up for the Ferrari Academy. So that'll lock those guys in for a potential future drive in Ferrari. Potentially Haas or Sauber as well. Depends on where a Ferrari aligned team see fit to put him. So that's really good news there.
Can you smell a championship?
I can.
Schumacher driving a Ferrari.
I'd like to anyway. I think that the door is still open on Ferrari's championship, and that Lewis walked away with it this year. I'm hoping that he doesn't. Look, in fairness to Lewis, he did a great drive, but hopefully he doesn't walk away with it again next year or 2019.
So it's interesting that we're talking about all this stuff. In amongst this, no mention of Dan the Man.
No, Dan's still in Perth. My wife actually saw him on. This is no word of a lie. I probably shouldn't disclose this. I won't. But he was in the Balcatta metro area visiting relations just the other day. My wife drove past, and she goes, "I swear that is Daniel Ricciardo." She did a U-turn just to check, and it definitely was him. So yeah, he's still in town. So
there you go.
No doubt will be leaving shortly, but he was definitely in local Balcatta. Thank you, everyone. So there you go. Dan the Man. Supercars, a West Australian that probably didn't get his due departure, I felt. Garth Tander. I'm not a big Garth Tander fan, never have been, but I felt he was really hard done by Gary Rogers.
I thought you were after your brush with fame at the nightclub there.
Oh yeah, when I met him at the DV8s many years ago. But he was only in Formula Ford back in those days, but I did recognise him and had a chat with him half the night actually. Had a good chat with him, bought him a few drinks. This is a long time ago. Long time ago. But yeah, look, I felt he was really hard done by. He's been sacked or dropped from Gary Rogers Motorsport. Richie Stanaway and James Golding have secured sponsorship deals, bringing Boost Mobile over to Gary Rogers. Wilson Security departed the team. They had a verbal agreement with Garth Tander at the end of last year. He'd be returning this year. While Garth's on leave, he got a text message to say you need to come into the office. Came in and that was it.
Oh, at least they didn't do it via text.
No, they didn't do it via text, in fairness to Gary, but I felt... Look, you can read about it in my blog. My thoughts are there. I know we blame a lot of stuff. We palm a lot of stuff on commercial realities. I'm sick of that word, to be frank. Commercial realities. The reality was you gave the guy your word that you would be racing next year.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not to be. I can't add much more to that. Anyway, Gary Rogers, if you're listening, shame on you. Frosty, the defector Holden. We spoke about that last year. There's a big uproar on social media. He test drove the new Commodore last week. He did a 10-lap shakedown.
Oh, okay, listen. We need to talk about the new Commodore.
Yeah.
My wife and I are looking for a car.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I went to a Holden dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not because I was looking at the new Commodore.
Yep.
Because we were looking for a real Commodore.
Mm-hmm.
VF,
which you can't probably buy anymore, or they
no, they got them, but they want
big
like
bucks,
$5 million for a basic model one. And I said, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the price has plummeted on those things.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
like I think soon the dealers will be paying you to take one away, and we've seen a couple of issues. Coming through.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't want to discuss that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, so I said to the Holden dealer, this was one in the northern suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
I said to him, you guys must really hate the fact that these things like 1 year production run, lemon, can't get rid of them. Oh no, they're selling really well. I said, your yard's full of them, and you've dropped the price 10 grand. Oh, well, I mean, no, they're a good car. They're selling really well. Dude, they're a heap of shit, and they're selling very badly, and people were disgusted. They would have been better off badging them as what they are, rather than calling them a Commodore.
Yep.
Big disappointment, and a shame that Holden hasn't pulled them out of the V8 supercars, because it's just embarrassing. I would rather that they'd be still racing VFs than those things. I reckon that they've got a huge aerodynamic advantage because they're about the same size as a Ford Focus.
Yeah,
but they got to just call it It was a lemon. It didn't pan out for them.
They've stopped bringing them over. There's been an embargo. There's been a stop on them actually coming over until they clear up the backlot of cars that are in Australia already. There's no more boats to be sent, and the Equinox is the same. No Equinoxes, no Commodores to leave Europe until further notice.
The only saving grace they've got is the Colorado.
Yep.
And whatever the van version of the Blazer or something. Trailblazer.
Yeah, Trailblazer, yeah. Yep.
You know. But, you know, the sad part about all of this is that the station wagon is gone.
Yeah.
You know, and going around, that's what we want, because not that I'm overly tall, and Nicole's about my height. It's just that Nicholas is tall for his age, and because the law suggests that you've got to have a rear-facing seat up to, 2 years old or something.
Yep.
The amount of room that you need for a seat that big when you've got a tall child, it leaves you no leg room. SUVs are kind of like they've squashed everything up, so they haven't got that length, And then the wagon would have been perfect, but I mean the VFs that are out there, even the second-hand ones, the prices just skyrocketed on them, which is a shame because especially the V8 ones, there's nothing on there that I can't fix. You know what I mean? So I feel comfortable buying one of those. Yeah. Whereas the cars that we're sort of looking at, the only thing size-wise, because we've measured everything, as you can imagine, we're both very, that's what we like. We're very analytical people. The Subaru Outback, the new Forester, the older Forester is actually a little bit shorter. The new Forester. And that's really... Oh, and the other one, I mean, I'd never buy one, but I was surprised how much room they have inside. The Mondeo, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah. It's not a bad size.
I think the dash is very forward, like it's very shallow. And I think that's where the leg room comes from. Because when you look at them, they're not that big, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, it kills me thinking about it. And this is not just Australia. This is a worldwide trend to go to these SUVs. I don't really see... I don't know.
No, the Arcadia is their newest offering, Holden, that I will be test driving in the coming days for an unrelated issue outside of the podcast, but that's probably where I'll probably end up going down, the Arcadia. That's the new GMC Arcadia that they're bringing to Australia.
Yep.
That's seven-seater.
The Trailblazer, is that like the Chevy Blazer in the US?
No, not really. No,
the Arcadia is more like that, is it?
Yeah, the Arcadia is more of that larger, full-size SUV. So I'll take that for a run and see what it's like. But I'm not a big SUV person, never have been, but I don't have much choice.
Yeah, that's it. They've boxed us in. The Mazda 6 is about the only kind of traditional style wagon available.
Yeah. Anyway,
be worse.
It could be. Frosty, test drove the new Commodore. That was probably worse. The social media outrage. I felt sorry for the guy. Look, I mean, he was a servant to Ford, and we should not be mocking him. Just let him get on with what he's got to do over there at the at Charlie's team.
Was that a commercial reality there, Nick?
No, look, I mean, for him it was just he had to get out of it. He had to get out of PRA. It wasn't happening for him there. Unfortunately, there was a lot of negative talk about this test drive he did. It was in a flat black. The Commodore was flat black. It hadn't been stickered up yet. I think they're just sort of, really grasping at straws when we start bagging the guy because he's driving a flat black Commodore. Well, who cares? It's a 10-lap shakedown, so... Speaking of shakedowns, I don't know how I tied that in at all. That doesn't actually tie in. Barbagallo track resurface. What an amazing job they have done over there at Barbagallo Raceway. Cannot wait to get out there and check this out. So the track has been resurfaced. We were hoping to get them on for an interview, but they haven't got back to me either. So I'll have to work on that next week and try and get one of the guys from the WA Sporting Car Club on. They've added a bus stop. They called it a bus stop chicane, but that's not a real true bus stop chicane, really. The bus stop chicane is when someone says bus stop chicane to me, I think of Watkins Glen. They have a true bus stop chicane.
But yeah, I'm surprised that they pointed this out. I read this because Todd told me that they were doing the resurfacing, and they got this special compound that they're using, and they're claiming that it's going to be the grippiest track in Australia. But I mean, do you see that as a problem with tyre wear?
It was for the supercars, yes. It was always a problem with the supercars.
This compound,
the older one,
the older one
was always a massive problem with tyres. But I got kind of sick of hearing about it. It was every time. It sort of hijacked the discussion of the race when they'd come here. Was the tyre degradation.
So even though the new compound is grippier, they believe it's going to wear the tyre less.
That's correct, yeah. Yep. Now, there is a science behind this, and they explain it on their website. I'm not qualified enough to explain that, so when we talk with the WA Sporting Car Club, we'll do a podcast on that, because I think that's of great interest to our listeners. So we will get back to you on that, and if you're interested, if you go to the WA Sporting Car Club website, you can read all about it there, www.wascc.com.au.
Motorplex.
Yeah, Motorplex. I went to the Nitro Outlaw funny car meet. What a absolute corker that was. Crowd was massive.
They reached capacity and had to turn people away. Brought it back to the heyday from 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really great to see.
Advertised.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the key. And I don't know who funds that, if that came from Graham Cowan or how that comes about, that advertised, but there was definitely an elevated level of advertising or
100%. Yep. Amazing show. Everyone that I know that went reckons that it was, arguably one of the best race meetings they've ever been to. Some great side-by-side racing. And obviously, Nitro is Nitro. Head of flames, the noise, the feeling, the vibrations. And for you and I, that's quicker than what the big show cars used to run not that long ago.
That's right, yeah. I remember the day of Lloyd Jones and Green Man. Dobbo. They were running those sort of 70s and 80s back in the day. But it was the noise and the smell. So anyone that hasn't been to a Nitro show, definitely can recommend the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro show. And thanks to JMac Media, got us up close and personal in the Bandit. My youngest son got to sit inside the Bandit, actually. And that was got a kick out of that, and gave us a rod as well.
Excellent.
I'll have to show you when you go.
So, while we're on the subject of drag racing, 400 Thunder, I can't believe how many rounds there's been. Yeah,
there's been a few rounds, but now there'll be a bit of a hiatus in the proceedings, and then I don't think there's another event for a little while now. But they had two pretty much back to back. We had the New Year Thunder and Santos Summer Thunder. Unfortunately, Sam Fennick in his door slammer came to grief at the top end of the track, and I've got to be honest with you, I've seen some hairy moments. I don't know if you want to watch this or if you want to hear this. I'm just going to play it for you here.
Sam Fennick could make it 4 different drivers from 4 starts for a win here. He does. 5.66 again. No shoot for Sam Fennick here in this car. It's into the sand trap.
He's gone through the gravel trap and up the wall. That's a big, big hit. Sam Fennick has gone deep. He's gone in really, really fast. We're talking 410 kilometres an hour across the finish line. And I don't know, there's electromotion on those things. The chutes are supposed to come out. There's something wrong. But he's gone all the way through the gravel trap, through the net, and we saw him climbing the bank there with that car. It was going over.
I'm going to leave it there. Sam posted a video which we've shared on Facebook the day after. He's okay, got out of the car fine, not a scratch on him, and he's fine. The car is destroyed. The thing that I just wanted to touch on, unfortunately, they weren't able to run finals after that. So there was no Top Fuel final. Kelly Betts has shared her points with... that escapes me right now, but she had to share her points with the other finalist, which would have been Phil Reed. Yeah, Phil Reed. So that actually, talk of deja vu, Kelly Betts is now leading the championship, which reminds me of last year. It's very reminiscent of last year. I think she took the lead in the championship around about now, maybe a little bit later on. But anyway, but yeah, getting back to Sam Fennick, that was a really scary moment. And if you haven't seen the video, get on there. He's A-OK, but that car has gone, well, there's no chutes have deployed. They've come out, but they haven't blossomed, as they say. Do you know what would cause something like that, not being packed correctly, or?
Look, Nick, I've had it happen. I've had it happen to me once, both chutes, and I've had it happen to me a couple of times, one chute. You know, I could speculate, but
yeah, no, fair enough.
The problem with saying, like, one instance for me. It was definitely the error of the person who packed it. But the thing is, if you make that suggestion, you're putting the burden on whoever did that. And this is why in America you will see that the Top Fuel and Nitro Funny Car drivers generally always pack their own chutes. Because... You know, you saw what happened there at 250, 260 mile an hour. Can you imagine what it's like at 330 mile an hour?
Yeah. And some NHRA tracks aren't as generous in the braking area as what the Sydney is as well.
That's right. So, incredible, incredible that he walked away from that. The fastest I've been into the sand is about 206 mile an hour, and I got on the brakes pretty early. The thing is with that, it just didn't appear to wash off any speed.
No, it looked like it's almost.
This is. Look, we're going to touch on something that I've got a bit of a bone to pick about, right?
Yep.
So the door slammers, I don't know if it's a requirement yet because I don't follow the 400 Thunder, but there was talk of you heard him in the video talk about the electromotive device. Okay, so there is a radio beam across the track around where the finish line is, and that is supposed to kill the engine and automatically deploy the chutes. Now that device also, if the burst panels go out, it automatically deploys the chutes. It does all this stuff, right? I think that it brings some complacency, to the driver. And I think that some of this safety stuff is probably dangerous, not in that if it fails or that, but in the fact that the driver's sort of going, it's going to do its thing. Now, in the US, there's been a lot of crashes like this because the drivers are actually using the electromotive device to shut the car down. Okay, so they were... Tim McCamus actually does a video talking about this, how, pro mod drivers, basically all they have to do is let go of the button and that's it, pretty much. They can eat their popcorn and go down...
Cheetos,
yeah. Eat their Cheetos and drink their drink because the car shifts gears automatically, and the door slammers are the same now. Yeah. I don't know if you know, but they put in a rule submission. It got voted down by the Top Door Slammer Association, right? So the majority of the Top Door Slammer drivers voted against automatic shifting, and then Thunder 400 brought it in. Said, no, we don't care what you want. We're going to bring it in anyway. So something that I learnt when I was driving was, you hear guys talking about, you got to drive into the chutes, right? So the theory is that you stay on the wood until you feel the chute blossom. The problem with that is, while you're on the wood, you're building speed, which if you had have lifted...
you would have washed off.
You would have washed off, So it's a tragic thing to happen in a beautiful car. Absolute. I'm devastated that car is damaged because it's incredibly well put together, and maintained, and one of the certainly best appearing cars out there.
Yeah, definitely.
To see it destroyed like that is a shame. But I think that this is where, whoever it is, IHRA, Andra, Thunder, whoever, need to start putting the onus back on the driver. I can tell you now, when I went in the sand, Andra was around at my pit area. We got back and they were there waiting for me, right? And the first question they said was, "What happened?" And I said, "Mate, I grabbed the wrong lever." That's the truth. I'm not going to lie. It was my mistake. I won't do it again. And I'll tell you what, when you're, even as slow as I was going, you're heading towards that sand and you're going to go in it. There's a lot that goes through your mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know what's gone wrong there, but it could have been the way it was packed. It could be something else. Sometimes when you make a small change to the wing, you can upset the air. I don't know if he's got air launchers. I've always used the springs, and I always try and make sure that the chute's pointed. But what you saw there is one of the things that's going through my mind at the moment, because we've, something that I wanted to change from when we were running the car indoor slammer was the wing, because I always felt that the touring car wing was never designed to go as fast as we were going. We're exceeding the speed that wing was designed to go by half track, right? So now I've got a more traditional drag racing style wing, and I've had to relocate the chutes. Now, the first time I deploy those things is when I find out whether they work or not. And that's the gamble that you take. You know? So you move the wing, you disturb that air, there is the possibility of something like this going to happen. So, it could have been a lot of factors that caused it. They did deploy, so sometimes the sheathing gets caught, so it's not that. The chutes came out. They just didn't get into the airflow. So the other thing, too, that I might add, and this is one of the possible things that could have happened, a lot of people use these air launchers, right? So there's three traditional ways to shoot the parachutes, right? There's the old school way, which it's a big coil spring that you jam in it, and I actually showed Asher how to pack a chute not long ago, and we fired off the spring, and he thought it was the most dangerous thing that he's seen, because when you're packing it, you're holding this spring, and if you slip, it's going to smack you in the face. Yeah, right? So that is the traditional way. Then from there, we went to the spring behind the chute, right, where you push it in and you have a locking pin that holds it in, then you pack your chute, and the last thing you do is pull the pin out, and the spring's loaded then. So with the traditional way, the pilot chute and the spring are one item. That comes out, goes into the airflow, then it pulls the rest of the chute out and the chute blossoms, okay? The later generation, the spring went behind the chute. There is still a pilot chute, but you're actually just throwing the chute out into the airflow with the spring behind it. The latest version, which has been around for a long time, is an air launcher. And essentially you've got an air cylinder that's behind the parachute. So you turn the tap to the dump position, and all the air's dumped out of the system. You push the two plates that deploy the chute back into position. You pack the chute, you put the pin in the bag, you put the cable in the bag, and then you turn the air pressure on.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And that air pressure is what launches the chute into the air. If you forget to turn the air on, or if you turn it on and then mistakenly turn it back off for whatever reason, like you've got a leak or whatever, the chutes will do exactly that. They'll just fall out. And probably sit on top of the wheelie bars. So I've never been a fan of any of that stuff, because the way I look at it is the less things that have to be switched on or off or whatever, the better.
Yep.
The less things that can go wrong, which is why it's such a big gamble when you've got a lot of electronics on the car, because every one of those components can fail, and every one of those components can let you down. So I don't know. They would know, I imagine. I imagine that they would have had a good look, because that's going to be $100,000, $200,000 accident there. If that car's gone, that's the sort of money you're looking at now to build a new car. So, tragedy. Absolute tragedy, but great to hear that he's fine, and also fantastic to hear that all the safety equipment did what it was meant to do.
Yep. Also, I probably didn't mention before, but the finals were cancelled after that. That was because the crash net was broken.
Correct. So the crash net obviously did its job, but this is a problem that we've seen at the Kwinana Motorplex as well. That once the netting has been damaged or moved from its anchors, or the anchors have been damaged, you have to halt racing. I will say this, that it's better that the net did its job and so on, rather than what happened to Wayne Keys, where the car submarined under the net, tore the blower off, nearly killed him. So good to see that their net works.
All right. Bathurst 12-hour. We're going to have guy on the ground that's going to be there. Todd Brinkworth has offered he's going to actually be at the Bathurst 12-hour, and he's going to be our roving reporter there. So we'll be talking to Todd from the race. So shout out to Todd, and thanks for doing that. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah, Todd's been in the car scene for a very, very long time, and he's sort of been involved in everything from rallying to road racing, drag racing. Great to see Todd getting involved.
He's also going to be at Race Wars. He's going to help out at Race Wars as well, so much appreciated. New Supra came out this week. We're not going to see it till 2020, but we've seen the...
You know what, Nick? I would rather never see it. It has got to be the ugliest car I've seen in a long time.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because VIN number one has been sold in the United States at... Now, this is pronounced Barrett Jackson, not Barrett Jackson. Have you? For years, I've thought it was Bear Jackson, because Americans do not pronounce words very well.
No, it's definitely Barrett Jackson.
Barrett Jackson. That's how you say it, guys. Not Barrett Jackson. But anyway, they sold VIN number 001 to Jeanette. Well, they bidded for it. Jeanette and John Stalupi. They paid $2.1 million for chassis number 001. All the proceeds for that vehicle are going to the American Heart Association and Stand for Heroes.
So, I'm just reading your notes here, and it's a partnership with BMW.
That's correct.
Right, as opposed to Subaru. Mm-hmm. It kind of does look like a pregnant M4.
It does. It does, actually. I have to agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
No, you're thinking of X4.
Z4. A pregnant Z4.
It does. I have to agree with you. It does, actually. It does. Very reminiscent.
It is so ugly, Nick. They could have done... people have waited so long for this new Supra. And it is disgusting.
I'm not a big fan of it myself, but it's making all the headlines. Unfortunately, I don't think we're only going to see
300
units, but only.
Thank God, because then I'll never have to see one on the road.
Yeah. So,
does it go? I mean, the whole reason the other one was famous, aside from the Fast and the Furious, was because of the 2JZ.
Yeah.
2JZ, GTE, TT, or whatever. Yes. Alphabet.
Look, it's still early to say. It's 250 kilowatts, 500 newton meters.
Is it a BMW motor?
Yeah, it is, yeah. BMW running
it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I like my BMW. I love them. But the 2JZ, and you notice that I'm not saying 2JZ, because, we have to talk. We're talking American here.
We're going to say Bear Jackson.
2JZ is a phenomenal motor that has made some unbelievable horsepower and set incredible records. I believe that the current record's in the 570s.
I think so, yeah.
That is unbelievable. I just can't see a BMW motor.
No. I tend to agree with
Which
you
is a shame, because when you look at all the other engines that we've seen in the last, 20-odd years, like the LS, the Camry engine,
yep,
the 2JZ, and of course the V6 in the new GTR, VQ and VR engines. they're getting quite a reputation. I mean, we've got 6-second all-wheel drive GTRs.
Yeah.
R35 GTRs out there, so no slouch.
No.
So it's I guess we all expected Toyota was going to one-up Nissan, and they did when you look at the GTR versus a Supra. Although the GTR, the R32 was four-wheel drive, all the GTRs are. But although it was that, the 2JZ was just such an amazing engine that the RB kind of paled in comparison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it really, particularly in drag racing, it put the Toyota on the map. And I mean, let's look at the hard hitting imports. They're all, Toyota 2JZ powered. And Ecanu, amazing things. The Puerto Ricans have all done incredible things with them. So it's a big legacy to try and follow up and to bang a BMW motor in there. I mean, I love my Beamers, but nah, man.
I agree, but I think we'll see more of this. I think collaboration is the word that is a catch cry now. Automotive collaboration with other manufacturers will be the way of the future, unfortunately.
This is suggesting that the Germans can build a better engine than the Japanese. And the Japanese can build a better chassis than the I'm sorry, but I think they got the wires crossed.
They got the wrong way around.
Yeah, I think Toyota should have built the engine and BMW should have built the chassis. Well, that was a good investment at 2.1, because if there's only 300 built,
$2.1 million. But look at this, $2.5 million for a 2019 Ford GT. It's the Heritage Edition of the Ford GT. VIN number 001, purchased by, of all people, Rick Hendrick.
Yeah, who's
big Chevrolet.
GM,
big Chevrolet
GM
dealer.
And he's done that out of spite. He's probably going to run a road roller over it.
Oh, Rick. Not to be outdone, Barrett Jackson CEO, Craig Jackson, he's actually purchased the first production Mustang Shelby GT500, $1.1 million.
Yep.
The money for that is going to the JDRF as well.
All of these cars, the money went to...
I pulled out basically the charity sort of cars, with the exception of this one down here, which was the Rockbird with the Trans Am. I don't know, I pulled that one out. And also the Senna McLaren as well. They were...
I thought that the Rockford Files car went relatively cheap.
I thought that was a steal for $115,000. Now, just one thing...
The Eleanor, I don't know if I would have bought that.
$350. Now, that was an original set car, that one as well, by the way.
That movie...
I don't know, we've spoken about it.
Nicolas Cage, no, should never have done it.
The other thing that I haven't got in the notes as well is the fact that I listened to an interview today with Craig Jackson. Over 1,800 cars were auctioned at this auction. Only 2 had reserves.
Oh, yeah.
So this was that's the big thing. That's no reserve auction.
Yeah, that's the big thing in the US, the no reserve deal.
And 700 cars were knocked back for this auction. 700. So you had 1,800 in, 700 were knocked back or moved to other locations where he felt they'd have
America's big,
So this is their biggest auction they've had to date.
Over 10 times our population.
Yeah. Yep.
So, that would be the equivalent here if we got 180 cars at an auction.
WA
Auto auctions, you'll see
Pickles.
that. Pickles, Manheim. You'll see that all day, every day.
Hey, we'll just finish out with Lights Out 10s coming up.
Before we talk about that would be funny if we went down to Manheim and gave it all a hype like they do at these Barrett Jackson auctions. The commentary in the background, yes, and this is an ex-cop car.
Hyundai. Ex-cop car.
Seen some real action, this one.
Santa Fe, this one. Lights Out 10 coming up. February 14 and 17. Cannot wait for this. Stevie Fast has got his video out. He's calling out everyone. You got a Radial versus a World car. He wants to race you. He's prepared to race Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, or Sunday night. He said he'll even stay back Monday night if Duck lets him. So the call outs are on. So
So we're entering the foray of radial racing, right?
Yep.
the record 362 over the 8th, 225 mile an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Do you think it can be pushed, Nick?
I think so, yes. Yeah.
Do you think we'll see a car, lights out, in the 350s?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
That's a big call, mate.
Yeah.
That's a big call.
Well, we said that before lights out. No Mercy 9.
Have they changed the rules at all?
No rules.
Nothing's changed.
No. So yeah, I think
it's been a long time since Mark Mickey ran that 362, and we have not seen anyone get close to that.
No. But I generally think they probably haven't really tried all that hard since that No Mercy 9.
Yeah. So this is 12 months since that record run.
Yeah, Mark Mickey did that actually at Lights Out 9, but we did have No Mercy 9 since then. That was in October, but there was no records then. However, the weather didn't lend itself for really record rate runs.
But this is the thing. This is the thing that, we've talked about this a couple of times on the show, and I've read Dragzine and a few other articles where they're saying we're all expecting a big number. Now we saw them go from 420s to 360s. It felt like it happened overnight.
Yeah.
I remember when Stevie Fast in the nitrous car went 370.
Yeah.
I remember ringing Zap up, getting him out of bed, and going, "Dude, did you hear he went a 370 on a radial?"
Yeah.
And then we saw it like another tenth smashed off it within. It wasn't weeks or months, but 18 months?
It would have been about 18 months. Yeah, I remember when you did that.
But that's a whole tenth.
Yeah.
Now, and at that meeting, it was like they unloaded the cars from the trailer and ran 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I find that incredible.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be interesting.
Sorry, I have to correct what I said. Mark Mickey didn't do that at Lights Out 9. He did that at Sweet 16, which was a month later. It was in March, so not quite a year. But anyway.
Not quite a year.
Yeah, but it was at Sweet 16.
And is this a closed entry invitation only?
No, not No Mercy 10, no. This is open.
So have we got any numbers yet?
No, not yet, no. No, entries. I think they're oversubscribed already.
Yep.
They always are.
Yeah. Yeah. They definitely have a full field. But they're going to have a qualifying cut-off.
Yeah. It'll be a 32-car field still.
32, wow.
32, always a 32-car field.
So how many laps do they need to do a day?
Well, they need to... They start... It depends on the weather. They will, if there is inclement weather predicted, they'll actually start the event... sort of half a day earlier as well, which is what they had to do either No Mercy or Lights Out or Sweet 16. I can't remember, one of the three last year. They had to start at half a day early, so the round one was on the Friday evening as opposed to Saturday. So they'll get racing underway depending on the weather. But racing qualifying starts Thursday evening. And the call out.
And the actual racing. Mm-hmm. So 32 cars, right? You've got to do what?
5 laps.
5 rounds. 5 rounds. So will they fit that all in one day?
No, they can't. They can't do that in one day. But that's why they race on the Sunday. But they also keep the Monday free as well if they need to.
So 2 days, possibly 3.
Definitely, yeah. Yep. So, but again, they have raced on the Monday as well. But if they can avoid it, they'll leave it to Sunday evening. Yep. So you've got to be pretty fluid if you're qualifying in this event because you've got to be able to race day or night.
Yeah. So you probably do 3. Yeah, but like we started the show talking about radial racing. Well, it's probably fitting to end the show on it. The profiler, that is a pretty cool bit of gear. So I think that once you've done a few laps with it, it'll take you to as quick as the track will go.
Okay. Yep.
And then it's a matter of making the horsepower. And I mean, you've got 3 different combinations that are prevalent, right? You've got your nitrous combos, okay? You've got your supercharged combos, and you've got your turbo combos. Now, I think that the development of all three of those combos has gotten to the point now where they pretty much go to the start line all in. You know what I mean? If there's not a single horse left in the trailer, it's in that engine bay. So if you can make all that power, because remember, a lot of us over here are still trying to, make more. You know what I mean? Whereas these guys spend, weeks, months, whatever, on the engine dyno, and in a lot of cases, we couldn't even think about doing that because there's not really any dynos over here that can, you can do that with. You know what I mean? But in the US, it's common. It's you buy your engine from an engine guy with a tune-up, particularly in the turbo, like Proline or something. So if you're going there and you've got all the bases loaded under the bonnet, and all that needs to happen is you need to control that, and then you got someone like Shannon Davis that makes this incredible box that stops the car from wheel standing and can feed or pull power, right? I think it's 32 times per revolution of the tail shaft.
Okay,
right?
Geez.
Yeah, so then, typically these guys run like a 430 rear end, so it's 32 times 4.32. That's how many times per revolution of the tyre. You know what I mean? And the box self-learns, so it kind of will go, yeah, okay, that's cool, but I think there was some room for improvement here. And then when you go again, it gets to that point and goes, let's try a little bit more power, So, yeah, it's kind of... I think it's fantastic, and we've seen the numbers just plummet. But I also think that it's kind of sad because if you go back to the heyday of drag racing, we used to use a thumb screw on the barrel valve and a timing light, and some pills, and guess that's roughly where it's going to be. No data loggers, and just see what happens. The thing is that these runs now are getting that clinical that, it's fast, but is it cool to watch anymore? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've talked about this on this, haven't we, in the past?
Well, I mean, look, I've spent a lot of time watching drag radial cars go down the track to try and get an idea of what the wheel speed's got to do, right? I watched the Dragzine Corvette the other day, and I've watched Mark Mickey's run a couple of times. And it's pretty boring to watch, really. It's just kind of like they, don't really have any attitude. The tyre just slowly accelerates. You look at the number on the scoreboard and you go, wow, that was fast. But is it the same as like the old Brett Stevens racing Capiris, where it wheel stood 4 times and tried to put him into the wall in the centre line? And you remember you were there. You were filming it. And everyone was standing up on
the 607. Yeah,
it was just incredible. So I look forward to seeing this event, and if maybe even I think we'll be racing.
You will. We will be racing
that weekend. So. But what we'll do, we'll have to set up a big screen, get the internet hooked up down at the Motorplex between rounds.
Plug this.
Yep.
Get this on.
We're on.
Looking forward to it. All right, Simon. Look, we'll bring this one to a close. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for having a chat.
My pleasure, Nick.
And we'll stay tuned with all the stuff that we're doing. And it's good to have you back. 2019. Can't wait. We've got some big stuff planned. I'm looking forward to it.
We should. You know what I am looking forward to? I'm looking forward to when we finally move into the new studio.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Simon.
Thanks, Nick.
See ya.
See you on the street.
Talk and Power stresses all characters and events on this podcast, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. All celebrity voices are impersonated poorly. We do not encourage street racing or the use of turbochargers.